Hello students of class 3, welcome back to this video. Today we're going to start with your English literature lesson 10, topic The Lost Pumpkin part 1. You can turn with me to page number 79. But before we go to the story, let's see to the meanings. The meanings that you'll find in your book. The first one, Dadaji, father's father. That means their grandfather, the grandfather. And number 2, precious, very valuable. Number 3, squealed, cried out in a loud, shrill voice. Number 4, walking away with, here, getting. And next, challenge, invited to compete in a contest. And the last one, halwai, sweetmeat seller. Now let's see to the characters in the story. Somya is a little girl in the story, and Rohit is her brother, and Dadaji is their grandfather, and next their gardener, and Mr. Kapoor is their neighbor, and the last one, Mr. Kapoor's gardener. Now let's see to the story. Help, help, he has robbed us, the thief. That means somebody is calling out, okay? Somebody saw the thief and they were shouting, help, help. Then suddenly what happened? A loud voice woke up Somya. As I have told you about Somya. She is a little girl, and rubbing her eyes, she jumped out of bed and ran into to the window. In the kitchen garden below, she could see her grandfather angrily waving his walking stick. Somya ran down the stairs with her brother Rohit. Then, as soon as she heard the sound, she woke up and she jumped out of her bed and she ran to the window. And in the kitchen garden below, she could see her grandfather, okay, their Dadaji, was very angry and waving his walking stick. And then Dadaji stood near a bed of vegetables. As you can see here near the vegetables, his face was red with anger. What happened, Dadaji? Somya asked. Unable to speak, Dadaji pointed his stick to a spot. Somya looked, then looked again and screamed, "Oh no, it's gone!" Rohit, still confused, asked, "What's gone?" "My pumpkin, my precious pumpkin," cried Dadaji. Here, precious means very valuable. Okay. By this time, a crowd has collected at the scene. The gardener was in tears. His son Paltu looked sad. The milkman was curious to know what had happened, and the washerman nodded wisely. "I saw him jump over the wall," she said. "Nonsense," said Paltu. "He came from the other side. I saw him." "Why didn't you catch him then?" asked Rohit. Then what happened? Then just then Somya squealed. Squeal here means cried out in a loud, shrill voice. "A footprint! Look!" She just saw the footprint nearby the vegetables garden. Then sure enough there was a large footprint near the pumpkin plant. Said Rohit thoughtfully. "Now who has such big feet?" "Of course, Mr. Kapoor's gardener." "I knew Kapoor was behind this." Here Mr. Kapoor is their neighbor, okay? He's then Dadaji was very angry and he said that, "I knew it was Mr. Kapoor who did all this kind of things to his garden." That means he stole his precious pumpkin from the garden. "Come on, let's get him," he said. And they went. He took the children and also some of his uh, friends, and it took the children some time to calm their excited grandfather. That means he was very angry and they told him to calm down. They felt sorry for him because they knew how he felt about his pumpkins, especially the one that was stolen. "You see, for the last 15 years, Dadaji have been winning the local vegetable contest and walking away with the first prize. His pumpkin was always the best. No other vegetables could match it." That means it very much sure that why Dadaji was very angry, because it was his precious pumpkin that he usually win for the for a pumpkin contest, I mean vegetable local vegetable contest, and he is the one who have won for the last 15 years with the first prize. So that's why he was very much angry because somebody have stolen his precious pumpkin. This year's pumpkin was huge, but now it was gone. That means he was very sad because this year the pumpkin that he had planted was very big, and but what happened? Somebody have stole his pumpkin. Of course, Mr. Kapoor was the thief, and he said that yes, it will be Mr. Kapoor who is the one behind all this kind of behind all this stealing. Then he had challenged Dadaji. That means invited him to compete in a contest, saying that he could grow a better pumpkin and win the prize. Many times he had come looking around with the excuse of tasting Granny's pumpkin halwa better than Matru halwais, he always said. That means Dadaji have even told them that Mr. Kapoor usually come and to look around with the excuse of tasting Granny's pumpkin halwa, but he was always in the mood to challenge him, and he also have challenged him that who can grow a better pumpkin and win the prize. Now Somya tried to reason with her grandfather. Dadaji, we cannot just march into Mr. Kapoor's house and call him a thief. Maybe he hasn't taken the pumpkin. And they were reluctant to go directly to Mr. Kapoor and blame him for stealing the pumpkin. I know he has, said Dadaji. That means Dadaji was very sure enough that Mr. Kapoor have stolen his pumpkin. I have an idea, said Rohit. Let's pretend to visit him. Dadaji, while you speak to him, Somya and I will look around. Wow, Rohit, this is your first great idea of the year, teased Somya. So off they went to Mr. Kapoor's house. He and Dadaji soon began to argue about their vegetables garden. The children quickly slipped away to look around Mr. Kapoor's garden. They looked everywhere, but there was no sign of the pumpkin. That means they went to Mr. Kapoor's house and they will start searching. Somya and Rohit told Dadaji that you talk with Mr. Kapoor, and meanwhile both of them they will go and search the pumpkin. Where could it be? Wondered Somya. In the house? Look, whispered Rohit. That little shed, it must be in there. However, all that they found was bags of manure, some flower pots, and garden tools. What are you doing here? A voice roared behind them. It was Mr. Kapoor, gardener. Then Somya said, Nothing, nothing. Our pumpkin, said Rohia. Where it is? Your pumpkin? At first the man looked puzzled. Then he understood what the children meant. He ran into the house, shouting, Sir, Mr. Kapoor, these children, they say we have stolen. That means in this story, as we can see that both Somya and Rohit with Dadaji, they went to Mr. Kapoor house in order to find out whether Mr. Kapoor have really stolen the pumpkin or not. And as they saw the gardener, Rohit have just said, Our pumpkin, where is it? That means, where is our pumpkin? Where did you keep? Then the gardener, Mr. Kapoor's gardener was very shocked. He was puzzled. Then he understood. That means he understood that the children have intention of doing something uh, that is very bad for Mr. Kapoor's reputation, because they have called him a thief. So he was just going to tell Mr. Kapoor, and here we can see that we will not be able to know what will happen unless we go to the part 2. So overall we came to know that Dadaji's pumpkins was for him, the pumpkin was very precious, and he even thought that this year he could win again the local vegetable contest with his pumpkin. But we can see from the story that his pumpkin was missing. That means somebody have stolen his pumpkin. So he was very sad, and along with Rohit and Somya, they were very much sure that Dadaji was very much sure that Mr. Kapoor have stolen the pumpkin. So in order to find out, they just went to Mr. Kapoor house. In the next part, that means in the part 2, we will see what will happen. Okay, so it's to be continued, dear students. So we will see what will happen in the part 2. So that's all for today. So I hope you have understood the story, and you just wait for the next video, because in the next video we will see what will happen to the what had happened to the pumpkin, and who have stolen, and whether Mr. Kapoor is the one who have stole, or Mr. Kapoor's gardener is the one who have stolen the pumpkin, the precious pumpkin of Dadaji. We will find out soon in the next part. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.